What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back. We're back. We're back. This is the Q&A show inside the birds. I'm Jason Avant. I have my main man, Quintin Mikell, with us today. Like we always do, we talk about life. We talk about football. We talk about things that are important to us. And namely, that's the Eagles. We love the Eagles. We're birds through and through. We're fans with you guys. And we're going to talk about a few things today. Q, let's say what's up to the fans.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Glad to be back again. It's been great having a good time, enjoying time talking ball with my homie Jason, and looking forward to today's show. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Nice. Yep. I want to shout out my man Jeremy Macklin, whose birthday is today. That's my boy. Yeah, J Mac. I don't know how he turned, but it's got to be in that 34 range. And go by quick, man. You be approaching 40, going fast.
And already there, man.
Yeah, you already there. Mine right around the corner.
Oh man.
We want to shout out all the fans that are checking us out on Inside the Birds platform on YouTube, also Amazon Music, and all the other platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We want to say thank you guys for making our show a success. We have a good time studying up the film of these players, thinking about what the GMs and the head coach is saying, and delivering the information based on knowledge that we have of the game. For you guys that don't know, maybe your first time watching the episode, I played for the Eagles and the Chiefs, the Panthers, for the Panthers, the Rams, and the Eagles. And we played for a long time, and both of us were in the organization as far as coaches. I was a coach, Q was in the front office type of position. And so we offer a different type of perspective. So we're going to jump right into it. We want you guys to make sure that you give us questions so we can add the Q&A portion to our show. We want to start next week answering questions from the fans. So make sure that you guys go to insidethebirds@gmail.com, insidethebirds@gmail.com, and leave your questions there. Also, leave it on Inside the Birds, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you guys can get those questions. We will make sure that we'll answer questions going forward for this upcoming season, players that you want to know more about, inside details of stories that happened in the past or the future, whatever it may be. We definitely will give you guys that. Q, got anything on that?
No, man, you hit all the points right there. Make sure, when you write it in, just in the subjects portion of it or whatever, just make sure it's for the Q&A show, so we'll know exactly who the show's is the question is entitled to. And I'm looking forward to it, man. I know you guys have a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts, and want to know a lot more about the way we see the game. So we're looking forward to those questions, man. So send them in.
Man, you looking good, man. You got you a shave, man. What you got going on? You got a mustache going. I need to step my game up.
Let's good though, man.
I appreciate it. Let's get right into it, Q. This Friday's coming up, rookie minicamp. Yeah. I can remember my rookie mini camps and how excited I was. And there's so many dynamics that happen for rookies. And the first thing for you guys that don't know the process is you get drafted. And then right before, then you go to off-season training for a little bit. You get to meet your teammates. During that process, after you get drafted, they kind of fly you and they put you in a residence inn or whatever hotel it may be. You do some workouts with your teammates. Off-season program starts, but the first thing that's kind of official when you come back is the rookie minicamp. It's only rookies. The first part is usually only rookies. Then it's rookies and selected vets, like the veterans that are not established. Then you have the veterans that come in. Rookie minicamp is a fun time. Tell me about your rookie minicamp experience, Q.
Man, that was so long ago. So the one thing that I do remember the most from my rookie mini camp was, we come in, we check in at the residence inn where we used to stay in. I'm not sure if they stay there anymore, but
they better not.
Yeah, it was a little. I wouldn't say
it was
dangerous over there, but it's a little rough over there.
Yeah.
But so yeah, you're over there, you're bussing in and bussing from the residence inn to the NovaCare facility and back and forth. And, the one thing that I remember the most was like it was like a crash course in meetings and meeting time and new techniques and new plays. I mean, I think like the running portion of it was very difficult, but I think the mental portion of trying to like learn so many new things and techniques and so many new plays in such a short amount of time, because it's really only 3 days. That on top of the fact that it's me especially, I was a rookie free agent, so you know, back then it was a little different for free agents. You know, there was a couple guys drafted the year before, and there was a guy drafted the same year I came in. So, you know, a lot of times the drafted players kind of take they take most of the reps and they get most of the coaching, and so you're kind of as a free agent, you're kind of learning on the fly and trying to learn and get mental reps by watching, because you're not getting the same amount of reps. And so I just remember like the biggest thing was like the mental aspect of it, and it was draining. Like, you know, the running was hard enough, but like the running and the thinking, it just for 3 days, it was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? You know, it was tough. But I do remember, you know, it was the competition part of it. I remember having that competitive mindset to where, like, you know, no matter how hard this gets, I'm just going to keep applying my best foot forward, try to, you know, study and do whatever I could to really kind of make myself stand out. But the mental part was the toughest for me.
Yeah. So I would say that was really tough for me as far as the mental, because this is why the mental was tough for me, for the fans that may not, you know, have the insight for it. But the reason it's tough is because they expect you to know it right away. They don't, but they do. They yell at you like, because they're trying to prepare you for a season. So if you make a mistake, they yell at you like you've been there 7 years. So you're on eggshells the entire time. Can you imagine like going into your first job, and you're training at your first job, and as soon as you enter a key the wrong way on the computer, someone's yelling at you like, Bob, what you doing, dude? We don't do it like that. It's like, dude, you didn't tell me. It was bananas. And to me, it was like, what are we doing here? But it let me know that the standard was so high in the NFL that it made me want to stay up all night in order to know what I was doing. So it just made my development happen a lot quicker. By the time the real training camp came down, I was playing really fast because of the pressure that they were putting on you. And from a drafted player's perspective, now I was a 4th rounder. But even from a drafted player's perspective, everybody coaches you. That's the most draining aspect of it, right? They're yelling at you because you're not getting it right. And then there's a coaching point from every single coach on the field. Like the offensive coordinator is saying something to you, your receiver coach is saying something to you, Coach Reed is saying something to you, Harold that's shagging footballs on the way back to the huddle is saying something to you, and you're like, shut up, please. Like, let me focus. Like, everybody doesn't have it, because you're getting pulled and tossed and turned in so many different directions that is so draining that way. Now, for me personally, the running part, I was like, oh my goodness, this is easy. Oh my good. I got the NFL, and we did our first couple of sprints, and we did our test, and all of those things. You had to do like prepare for the endurance test.
Yeah,
I was like,
they have gassers.
I was like, are you kidding me? Because my at the University of Michigan, my coach was a military guy. And if we didn't do anything else, we could like last when it came to running, because if you made a mistake, the whole team had to just keep running, and he would make us miss class. He just didn't care. Like he had no chill. So when I got here, like it didn't take me till about my 3rd year where the running and the conditions started to get hard. But my first 2 years, I was like, man, the NFL is a cinch when it comes to this.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but that was my experience when it came to OTAs. Now, there's a different dynamic too, because guys are flying in from all over the country, and they're descending upon Philadelphia, happy about their new job. There are so many things, onboarding processes that you have to do.
Yeah.
You're in juxtaposition, right? You're in this place where you're hoping to make the team for undrafted guy or for a guy in the 4th round. The guy in the 1st and 2nd round, it's kind of a lock that they're going to make the team. But if you're in that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th undrafted, you don't know if you're going to make the team, right? So you hear the 1st round guy talking about where he's potentially going to stay in the locker room. Like, I think I want to stay in Old City. Second guy, around guys go, I'm probably going to stay in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And then, they're putting pressure on you because they're, trying to figure out where you're going to stay and all this stuff. It's like, dude, I don't even know if I'm going to make the team yet. Why am I being asked questions about where am I potentially living? It's so many different things that you have to worry about. I didn't even know how to, we were getting checks. Right. And I had a stack of checks all over my room. Like, it was a couple here, a couple there, but you don't have time to spend anything because you go from the facility to the hotel and back again. And I remember, like, after about the 3rd month, I had about 12 or 13 checks that I never spent or even put in the bank because I didn't have time to.
Yeah. And not only that, we didn't have cars. We didn't have cars. Well, a lot of us, the lower guys didn't have cars. So you couldn't even get to the bank if you wanted to. Now they had shuttles and all that stuff, but by the time you get tired, by the time you get to the back to the room, you're so tired you just want to go to sleep. And that reminds me, do you remember? So here's another part too that people don't know. So additional aspects to the on the field stuff and the off the field studying and the crash course. That's also where you're getting a lot of programming from the league in terms of from the the NFLPA and the rookie quote unquote rule guides and
rule
like
guides,
all the things that they try to do to keep you from getting in trouble, like you watching video after video after video of what not to do with on your free time, like. And that was some of the best naps, but it's like, oh my goodness, it's like it's never ending. And I don't want to make it seem like it was all bad. It was a great experience. Like, we're geeked up, like we enjoyed it, but it's tough, man. Like, they're gonna be a lot of
yeah. Come on, they're gonna the guy up there doing the presentations like, see, the guys that go to sleep be the guys that you hear on sports, and down in Miami. That's where all the trouble happened, and it's true. Whenever you see such and such got in trouble today, guess what? He was in Dade County. It's the same thing, the same message. Las Vegas and Miami is where all the trouble goes.
Every year, man. Shoot.
And the so there's that aspect of it. Now, you get so many reps, which is good. You get a lot of reps because you know what? You almost forget, like, even for undrafted guys, because there's not enough players to really do multiple, strings, right? So 2nd team, 3rd string, whatever. You don't have that many. So the guys that you drafted are taking a lot of reps. The undrafted free agents taking a lot of reps. Everyone's taking a bunch of reps. And the way I'm comparing this is when the veterans get in, your reps, you first, you think you're a starter, right? That's the thing. Like, you go out there because you're like, man, you're going to get, of this 5 plays, you're going to get 2 reps. That's a good thing for a guy in the 4th or 5th round. It's like, oh, man, I'm going to get 2 or 3 reps out of the first 5 plays. When you get to the veterans, they get 5 and you get 0. They get 5, you get 0. And then somewhere down later in practice, they'll get 4 and you get 1. Right. So you can go through a whole practice without breaking a sweat once those guys get in. So the rookie minicamp is so important to develop and to learn the terminology, see how your speed is in comparison to other rookies and how you guys adapt, get adjusted to each other, so you can be able to play fast. But your reps that you get during rookie camp are priceless because you just won't get the reps when the veterans come in.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And when the vets do come in, I will say this too. A lot of the younger guys, maybe guys on the bubble, where you are going to get better and get more reps and get used to the game is going to be in scout team reps, right? So, like, if you're not a starter,
explain what scout team is, Q.
Okay, so scout team. So, like, let's say I'm a rookie free agent, and it's the one offense. So the one offense is going up. A lot of teams, like a lot of times, you don't want to put your number one defense against your number one offense in the OTA setting, because number one, you're not really getting the entire team better, right? The way you get your team better is you have a team of backups playing against a team of starters, and you make them play at the level of the starters, right? And so that's what the scout team is they line you up, they tell you what coverage to play. The offense, it's scripted, meaning that they design the play for the play call for the offense or the defense to manipulate the coverage to make sure that you can get a successful play. But in doing that, you learn two things. Number one, you learn to play at a faster speed. And you also learn that, like, if I'm in the cover, let's say I'm in the quarters coverage and I run a team runs a pin route, which is the tight end runs a 10-yard sit down with a post behind it, and I get beaten on that. Now I'm learning, okay, I can't jump on that 10-yard in route by the tight end. I'm in quarters. I got to stay back. And so it's really crazy. Like I feel like that's where I took huge steps forward, was learning on the scout team to get up with the speed and not to make those mistakes, and putting me in those positions where I did make those mistakes. And so, all those young guys that are on the bubble, just, hey, scout team, let's go. Like that's your time to learn and perfect your craft and get better at it.
Yeah, the better you get at scout team, right? Because remember, Q said that, those plays are scripted, and it makes the defense or the offensive coordinator look bad if the scout team, which is at a disadvantage because those plays are scripted for the offense to win or the defense to win, and a guy is making plays consistently, right? Yeah. So it makes the offense coordinator look bad. It makes the receiver look bad. It makes everyone look bad. So I'm pretty sure there's times where they wanted to kick Q out of the drill, right? I remember Jim Johnson always called me Jerry. Like he didn't try to learn my name. He didn't even try to learn my name. I just looked like Jerry to him, right?
Jim was funny, man.
This is our drill, Jerry. Stop jumping for the ball. This is our, get him out of here. Jerry, get out of there.
So like with everyone, what Jason's talking about, like in offensive, so let's talk about an offensive drill where there's offensive team, and then you got defensive scout team. And this was one of Andy's huge rules. If the ball's in the air, right, and if it's an offensive drill, you are not allowed to go up and make a collision to make a play on the ball. He'd always say it's offensive drill. So flip side, Jim was always on. Like, he was always on. Like, if it's a defensive drill, you let us get the ball. So that's what he's talking about. He's like, yeah. The story's flipped now, and for some reason, I don't know why. For some reason. When it was the defensive drills, that rule never mattered. I never heard Andy say one thing about let them catch the ball. It was always when it was offense was on the
That's
field.
Because y'all be sitting back the ball, we come in like y'all catching the punt, like, no, go get the ball. And we just start right, like, yeah. Fun times, man. Time. It's fun times. There's a few other aspects of minicamp. Like I thought when the rookies come in for like a rookie minicamp, their swagger is high because there's other rookies. So the best are going to shine, and you think that you made it. And then there's like the wake up call. Like when the selected vets and the veterans come in, you're like, man, I thought I was good at 2 days ago, but damn, he can run fast, or dang, he got good hands, or you know what I mean? Or his feet are impeccable, whatever it may be. And there's a time, like, ladies and gentlemen, where you're in awe of the NFL talent. And that's like sometimes, especially early in your career where you're on the sideline and you're watching, for me, Greg Lewis or Reggie Brown or whoever it was, because they had the experience, and you're at awe at some point. I remember being in practice, and the first time I saw Javon Kirsten pads, I'm like, what is that? Like the dude, like he would shake your hand and like I have a big hand. He would shake your hand and just swallow it. I'm like, dude, what in the world? Like, and I remember those moments and those times, and I know that's coming up for the rookies after minicamp, when they get the selected vets in there and they get to see Fletcher Cox and how big he is and how nimble he is and how powerful he is all at the same time. And the guy that's coming in, from Buffalo, we had an offensive lineman, the guard from Buffalo, like coming in at undrafted free agent, is gonna have to go and like try to man up against Fletch. It's like, oh no,
without pads on,
without pads on. And the other thing that I saw that was kind of vivid in my mind was the tension is so high because everyone wants it.
Yeah.
Everyone like wants it. It's very like few in between where you get guys that don't want it. Could you, like, during your time when you're coming in, could you tell like if there was guys that were about to get cut at some point, or if they really had a shot? How did that go mentally when you're an undrafted free agent and you look down the line? It's like Dawkins, Mike Wood, like they just drafted, what was the guy, Lejeune, like you're looking at all of these things. What was it like mentally during that time?
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things about those teams that we had was it was competition. Like, and even the people that were solidified, like Dog, Mike Lewis, who had just got drafted, they were competing every time they went out there. And so, a guy like me, I was just competing because I wanted to stay there. Like I wanted to make the team. But those guys, that team, they built that team competition-wise to just go out and no matter what, when they hit the field, they're trying to beat whoever's in front of them. Like, didn't care if it was the same offense, didn't care if it was defense. It was like, and it was on both sides of the ball. It was on special teams as well. I mean, I remember, Ike Reese, he was a special teams ace, and I was looking up to him. I'm lining up behind him at the 5, in the 4, watching him run, and I'm like, he's been in the league, I think he'd been like 4 or 5 years, so he was pretty set, but he was working as hard as a rookie, and I remember seeing that, and I'm like, okay, this is what this is about. Like, this is how you do it. And so I think early on getting exposed to that really is more of a culture thing, and I don't think a lot of teams naturally have that, especially not during training camp. I mean, during mini camps, but like that speed and the competition factor is what really, really made me feel like, man, this is a different ball game up here. It's different.
Yeah, I agree. I remember how serious special teams was. In college, special teams is, you got 120 people on your team, right? 100 people on every college team or more, right? And the big ones even more. So when you're a starter, very rarely are you even on special teams anymore. Maybe when you're a freshman, maybe a sophomore, but after that, you're not on special teams anymore, right? Yeah. So you can kind of like put off. When you get to NFL, if you're not on that if you're not starting or like the number 2 receiver or, solidified, you're on special team.
Yeah.
And special teams, ladies and gentlemen, like special teams is, I think it's the hardest part of football. A lot of people don't. Offense and defense, that's like, I say it all the time. That's like living in Beverly Hills, the offense and defense. It's hard, but it's like living in Beverly Hills. Special teams, they don't give a damn. The referees do not care about special teams. So people will choke you. They hold you. There's no rules unless you're by the ball. Unless you're by the ball, they do not call it on special teams. You have to be, a guy have to be looking at you and you purposely like run out of bounds to avoid people. They have to make them call those things. And I remember that as being in rookie camp and how hard Harbaugh was on us about special teams. And I'm like, dude, what's the big deal? Like, I'm not gonna be on special teams anyway. And lo and behold, everybody's on special teams because not that many people out there. So you have to play special teams. And you had veterans like yourself on special teams. You had veterans like Jason Short, who was like one, he was the dude that was always on edge. If you looked at him the wrong way, he wanted to fight you. If you blocked him, he was gonna fight you. Like, he was an intimidator. That's who he was. And he was just a meathead, will run full speed into you 10 times in a row. And he's the guy that will literally play chicken with you and never get out of the lane. He
was the old school wedge buster, like back before they changed the rules. Like, that was him. He didn't care how big you were. He's running full speed into you. Like, he was a monster, man.
Yeah, he belonged in the war zone. He did not belong in the football field. Like, that's like he needs to be like serving like in armed forces somewhere. That's like the mentality that he had. And you had these guys, and special teams was so important. I think that's the wake up call for me. The wake up call is like special teams. It's like, dude, you want us to run all of these reps in rookie camp and then cover 40 yards full speed on punt? Oh, you want me to go down on punt and I'm a gunner and there's two guys on the vice that I have to avoid and I can't step out of bounds? Like, I was in those, you get exhausted in those drills. And after those drills, you're like, man, the rest of practice, that was hard. Now, special teams aspect of it was hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the kickoff drill. Remember, we just lined up 10 across and just sprint.
And cover.
Just sprint all the way down, jog back, do it again, jog back. Like, it was like looking back on it, like we were crazy, man. Like, but
we wanted it.
Yes.
And they could tell you to do anything. Yep. Nowadays, you got to have a meeting. We got to have a hold on, wait a minute. Let's get the PA involved. Back then, you just wanted to, and there's nothing wrong with the newer generation because now they're starting to realize their value and they're becoming partners. And that's what the game is for. We're evolving, and that's a good thing. Back in our time, we were so happy to be there that we didn't think about the full value of who we were. And the product, I believe, was better. Right? I thought that was more professional. I thought the product was better.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that the player's outcome, his end day, his end of day balance, his balance sheet, his bank account, was those numbers correct back then? These guys' numbers are correct now.
Yes,
so
sir.
You can't hate on that at all. You can't do it.
No doubt. Shoot. I ain't mad at him.
Ain't mad at him. Let's transition a little bit, Q. Let's transition to like the undrafted free agents. We just signed a few undrafted free agents. We drafted a quarterback out of Wake Forest, Jamie Newman.
Yep.
Is that right? Jamie Newman. And I got a chance to look at him briefly. I didn't break down his tape like I did, for the draft picks, but I got a chance to look at him briefly. And to me, he's a guy that if they're going to tailor an offense for Jalen Hurts, you got to get a guy in there that possibly can run an offense that they're tailoring for Jalen Hurts if Jalen Hurts is not available. Mm-hmm. Because Flacco can't do the same things with his legs outside the pocket as Jalen Hurts. But if you can get a guy that is a cheaper option that possibly could do it, it would be Jamie Newman. Now, the guy can't hit a broadside of a barn. Like, he's not a legit passer. He's inaccurate. He's a classic college athletic quarterback.
Yeah, that
runs the ball really well. He went to Wake Forest, so they run the ball all the time, right? So that's who he is. He's not special, but I think that they wanted someone next to Jalen Hurts that if he gets hurt, they can possibly not have to change the entire game plan for. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. And again, like you said, I haven't really had an opportunity to break down a lot of his film. What I have seen, you're spot on. He's an athletic quarterback, zone read type quarterback. He does have a big arm. I think he can throw the ball deep pretty well. I don't think he's accurate. But he's a guy that kind of intrigues me in the sense of he's he's got a similar skill set to Jalen. Like Jalen is definitely a much more polished quarterback, but the skill set is there. And assuming that he's going to be a project, assuming that he's going to be like a practice squad guy, I think if he learns how to, how to study the tape and learns from the coaching staff, I think that he can be someone that can, be a asset long term.
Work his way into a backup.
The thing that's really just kind of confusing is, you have Ertz and then you have Flacco, who's completely different. And then you have a third string quarterback that's a project. So I'm just confused as to what the offense is going to look like. Like, is it going to be a lot of zone read? Like, is it going to be that type of offense? Is it going to be what Flacco can do, which is play action, throw the ball deep? I'm just really confused as to what
what's it going to look like?
This is going to look like. And
I think. Go ahead.
And so just real quick, just bringing in a quarterback like Newman kind of confuses me even more because it's I'm not sure what we're going to see here.
If they're anything like this is the hope that I have on offense. This is my hope on offense. If they're anything like the Colts were last year, they're going to be reliant a lot more on the run game than what we've seen. But there were reports that came out that said, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman were questioning Doug after games like the Green Bay game last year, not 2020, but 2019, where Jordan Howard ran for, went crazy, and they ran a ball down Green Bay's throat when Green Bay was undefeated and we had no chance to win up there. And they questioned him. The reports, the Athletic said they questioned him about those types of games and why didn't he pass it more and those things. So are we going to get what the Colts were last year? A balanced team that had a veteran quarterback, had a young running back in Jonathan Taylor, which we don't have Jonathan Taylor because Jonathan Taylor is more powerful than Miles. I would admit that, but Miles is very explosive. Yeah. So are we going to get, we just got, Kerryon Johnson. We got Jordan Howard back. We have some guys. Are we going to be more dependent on the run game? I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like. So that's more concerning to me. Now, when it comes to the quarterback situation, I don't worry about the third string quarterback because I think that the third string quarterback it should be a project guy. It shouldn't be a guy that you're expecting to play. True. Because if you got to go to the third string quarterback, you might as well just get a veteran quarterback who's very old that you can trade for very easily and have him play. A guy that was the second string quarterback for the Colts last year, or the guy that, knows this offense like the back of his hands. You can find that guy like Josh McCown at a dime a dozen in the league. You can always find that guy.
Good point.
So
good point.
if you ever get to that point, you can get that third guy without having him even on your team, and he gives you a better shot to win than the third string guy. So the third string guy should be a project that's going to be on practice squad that may develop into something. That's just my thoughts.
Well, judging from what we've heard about the OC, his name is escaping me right now. The offensive coordinator, he's supposedly a quarterback guru. So
Brian Johnson.
Yeah,
is it Brian Johnson? Yeah, from Florida.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So judging from what we're hearing about him, hopefully that works well. That bodes well for Newman and Ertz and Flacco a little bit. So hopefully we can develop him and maybe eventually somewhere down the road he can if he needs to step in or maybe get a draft pick for him or something. It's okay. I'm okay with that. And I don't know, like just watching this tape, and again, I didn't get really deep into it as well. Wake Forest didn't really win a whole lot of games.
Well, Wake Forest and Wake Forest.
Yeah. So, but I wish him luck. I mean, I hope he's gonna.
I hope he does well.
Do well.
Yeah, so the next guy to me, and we can transition out because talking about free agents is tough. But this is, I don't want to shame or like insult my man Q because he came up from the bottom. You know what I mean? So you got to give them their due. And this is a guy I think that can make the team. This is a guy I think that can possibly make the team. When you get a guy like this that was a starter at a big school that played well, had Kyle Pitts on his team. Had Tony on this team, the other receiver that got drafted really high.
Darius
Tony and Trayvon Grimes out of Florida. Really big kid, 6'3", 6'4" kid, 220. Runs right at the round 4.5, 4.49, somewhere in that range, right? So he can run. He's obviously powerful. The thing that he doesn't do well is move laterally. And when you look at him and you see his ability to make jump ball plays and things of that nature, you're like, dude, how doesn't this kid get drafted? But when you begin to break down the tape a little bit further, you begin to see that he struggles when people are in front of him. And usually that's the sign of stiffness, and that's the sign of lack of lateral movement, is when guys really struggle at the line getting off jams, no matter if they're big framed or small. They have really tight hips if they can't get off the line, or they can't have some type of subtlety to get a guy to move out of his spot. And that's a concern. But situationally you can use them. But and the reason I say he can make this team is because you got guys, a bunch of guys that are the same build, same body type, same speed. And you need another guy like Fulgham on your team that can compete with Fulgham, right?
Yeah.
Fulgham, another undrafted guy that can compete with them and have a different body type, which is positive for the Eagles because they got a bunch of people that are the same type of player. And I don't think that bodes well for Jalen Hurts or the offensive coordinator or digging out. And that's the grimy part of football, is being able to dig out a safety. That was my job to do. Greg Ward can do it, but he's only going to be so effective because Greg Ward is small. He's not a big body guy that can go in and dig out a safety. And you can't expect Jalen Reagor to do it. You can't expect Devontae Smith to do it. You can't expect Quez Watkins or John Hightower to do it. You only have a guy like Trayvon Grimes or Travis Fulgham to do those types of things. JJ Arthur, whatever it may be. You have those bodies to do that type of thing. So I think it adds diversity to the receiving corps.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. When we started off on this journey, and we're talking about the receiving corps, we were saying, we had a lot of guys that are very, very similar. Mm-hmm. And what we're seeing now, which is exciting, is you're seeing a little bit of diversity. Like you said, you're seeing a variety of different type of players. Now, how do those players accept their role and love their role and expand their role and enjoy their role? Like, that's how you build a team, right? So hopefully, like, and I'll watch Trayvon Grimes tape. I like him a lot. The thing I like the most that he does is after he gets the ball, he goes vertical and he will run through somebody if he has to.
Yeah.
And I think you absolutely need a receiver that's willing to do that in this league. You need a guy that will catch an underneath ball and will get vertical and will just smash through people. And so, yeah, I agree with you. Laterally, he's a little stiff, and he's got to, maybe he can learn a few tricks here, and maybe he can use his strength a little bit better at the next level. But I do like the fact that he's aggressive after the catch. And so, hopefully he can, maybe that's part of his role. Maybe, he earns a role somewhere doing that kind of stuff. But I do like the variety that we have at the receiving corps. And now you got a guy that can go over the middle. You got a guy that can go deep. You got a guy that can run crisp routes. You got a guy that can get off the ball. You got a guy that'll do the dirty work, come in and block. And then, you might have a guy that might occasionally line up in the box, 3-point stands, running like a little trick play or something. I don't know, but just something different, that we're just not stuck with the same type of guy. So I like this so far.
So and I agree with that. The thing that's kind of interesting about Grimes and a lot of these players. And I'm going to transition into our thought, and I'm going to get kind of deep for the fans here in this section, in this next section, because I want to talk to them about a guy like Trayvon Grimes, or a guy like Travis Fulgham or Jalen Reagor or Devontae Smith, right? The category of guys. And we have them on offense, we have them on defense. The way offense works, ladies and gentlemen, is that you try to prioritize the people that optimize or prioritize the guys that give you the highest chance to score a touchdown on first and second down. Right? Yeah. On offense, right? The guys that you want touching the ball is the guys that do the most with the ball in their hands. So first and 10, that's not situational football. Some people make it situational football, but it shouldn't be situational football. You're trying to get the ball to your best players on first and 10. If you get into a manageable down and distance, meaning 2nd and 6 or under, that's not situational football. You try to get the ball to your best players. That's how offense works. If it's third down, now third down becomes situational. You don't try to get the ball to Deshaun Jackson on third down. You're trying to get the third down, which is a conversion. So now you have a situational player for that. Now, that's where I come in. I'm not going to be the feature on first and second down, but there's a place for me, because third and fourth down is when I shine. Right? This is how offense works. The Eagles have been stuck these last couple years using situational players to manufacture offense when it's supposed to be explosive players on first and second down. Therefore, you have a guy who is a Pro Bowl player, who's a great player, in Zach Ertz, but he's on the trading block, and it seems like not many people want to trade for him, because the general managers and those that watch football from a different lens, that are not just looking at numbers, they're saying that on first and second down, Zach Ertz does not affect the game as much. Therefore, we're not willing to pay him the way that they're willing to pay the top tight ends, Kelsey and why is it blanking the guy in 49er land?
Kittle.
Yeah, Kittle, right? Because those guys on first and second down can make stuff happen a little bit differently than Zach Ertz, even though Zach Ertz has high production.
Yeah.
If it doesn't equate to the win and loss column, like the more touches I give this guy, the higher chance of winning goes up. That's not the guy you should get the ball to. Therefore, I knew I wasn't going to get the ball on first down. And the same is true when it comes to every situation. So Trayvon Grimes is not going to be a first and second down guy. He will be a red zone target guy situationally. He may be a third down target guy situationally. And all of those guys are good, but they're not going to affect the game. That's why you want a guy like Devontae Smith on your team, who averages 17 yards a catch for his career, almost 4,000 yards receiving, and almost 47 touchdowns in college, because that guy is a touchdown machine. So you try your best to get him the ball as much as you can, because the chances of you winning go up when he touches the ball. If your chance of winning does not go up when a guy touches the ball, there it is. He's not worth the money.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's
deep, yeah.
Isn't that deep? It's deep. It's deep. And you can get your feelings in the way. And because everyone wants to be the Pro Bowler. Everyone wants to be the guy that gets the credit. But it's only so many guys. Like, I thought when I came out of college, like, dude, nobody can catch the ball better than me. Nobody can get open like me. And I would point to the coaches like, dude, I'm open on every single play. Like, every single play, I'm open. And then the coach, broke it down to me like, hey, like, the chances of us giving you the ball on first and second down, it's going to be a little bit lower, because we still got Brian Westbrook, who can score a touchdown at any time. We got Deshaun Jackson, who can score a touchdown at any time. We got Jeremy Maclin, who can score a touchdown at any time. We got LaShawn McCoy that can score a touchdown anytime. You and sell it, you'll get the ball when it comes to you every now and again, because you guys are going to be great situationally for us, and you're going to, advance the drive, and we're going to use you as placeholders, in situations. You're going to score some touchdowns, you're going to get some big plays, and you're going to be a great teammate. That's it. But the chance of you making a Pro Bowl is going to be very, very hard. This is just true. Yeah, but everyone won't accept that role. And you have to die to yourself in order to get to that place. Now, if you don't feel like you are a situational player, you take it to the coach. You try to get traded to prove somebody wrong, because sometimes they're wrong. And this is where the undrafted free agent come. When you're undrafted on offense, most of the time you're going to be a situational player.
Right. That makes sense.
So I just wanted to break that down for the fans.
No, that was deep, because I think it takes a big person and a big teammate, a great teammate, to be able to admit that self to you. Now, first of all, that lineup you just gave me was like phenomenal, like Westbrook, Deshaun, like that. Just thinking about how many playmakers were on that team, and last two are yourself and Selleck, who are great players, and so it's just crazy thinking about all the talent that was on those teams. And but yeah, it speaks to the fact of how great a team is, and how difficult it can be to bring a team together, and how much sacrifice it takes for a person to understand what you exactly just explained. Like, you're not the guy, but when we need you, you need to be the guy. And that's teamwork right there in a nutshell, man. That was amazing.
No,
I love that.
It's the same, but it's the same in every position, right? Whether it's on defense or whoever it is, like when the coaches don't just say, "Hey, Joe Schmo, go blitz." Like, no, it does not happen like that. It don't be, hey, he's in that position, let's go blitz. The coach will design a different name for the defense, switch a guy over here, take another guy out, just so he can get the guy in the right position that he wants. It's not even something that you guys do normally. It's like, we're going to run this out of under front. Why? Because this person is in this position under front, and we want him to rush. That's why.
Yeah.
And that's what the coaches do. Because there's certain guys, when they do rush, the productivity is higher. The chances of something good is higher. And players don't want to admit that, but as a coach, that's what that's what you got to do. You got to put the guys in position that's going to make the plays, give you the op. And so for you guys that may say, I'm hating on Zach, I love Zach as a friend, one of the better people that I know, great teammate, Super Bowl champion, all of those things. But when you start talking about the production, which is great, and then the effect that he's having on the game, the Eagles can make a case that, we can trade you. A lot of people won't agree with that, but they can make the case and say, yeah, you had 100 catches for a few years, but our record was such and such and such and such.
Wow. Yeah.
It sucks, right? Because you want a good player like that to remain on your team, because he has value. And he has value situationally, but will he be the guy that you can line up and do? Travis Kelce, for an example, you may see Jalen Ramsey guarding Travis Kelce. Now, that's a special tight end, but when you start getting corners to guard you, you're in a different category in class. You know what I mean? I've seen him eat some corners up, like, consistently. So that's what I mean when it comes to, like, affecting the game. You know what I mean? So it's neither here nor there. I'm just putting it out there. Let's transition a little bit.
I like that. No, it's good, because, and it's one of those things where, like, a lot of times, like, fans, even myself, don't really get it. And I understand, like, to me, a lot of times, especially with this organization, sometimes you just think, okay, well, you're getting old. Like, when you get to 30, it's like, all right, because there was always that rule, that kind of unwritten rule, like, when you hit 30, it's like, okay, it's time to go. So, the way you broke it down made a lot of sense. And, like, to me, in my mind, I'm like, yes, he's getting older, but can something be worked out? I don't know what's going on with the negotiations or anything like that. So the way you broke it down made a lot of sense to me, and I understand exactly what you're talking about now. So
Yeah, but I would let's get this straight. I would love for him to stay. But the role has to be different because you have a young budding tight end that has shown that when he touches the ball, he can do more with the ball.
Right.
And therefore you have to feature him. And a person that's used to being number one, dying to that a lot of times is very, very hard.
Yeah.
Because the role has to change. We don't really see that in football too much. Usually the roles don't get flipped where the younger becomes the star and the older becomes, the backup and be fine with it. Normally we see the younger become the star and the older one get traded because the maturation level is it's hard. It's very, very hard. Just think about what's happening with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers right now. They drafted a guy last year, Aaron Rodgers, so petty, right? He's like was the Super Bowl, not Super Bowl, but the league MVP. And he's like, I'm gonna let everybody know on the day you drafted Jordan Love that I don't want to be with you guys next year. And so you can imagine like how that, how that mentality is. So you can imagine the things that Zach going through, or whoever else is going through that you feel like a young budding star is behind you. Everyone's going through that, so.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not a fun position to be in. But he still got some years left. So
he does.
He'll be all right. He'll be all right.
He wherever he's gonna go, he's gonna be successful doing it. This offseason, there's so many things that could potentially happen. We talked about the NFLPA suggesting and encouraging players not to show up for off-season training and the non-mandatory workouts. We talked about that before. Jalen Reagor, Jalen Hurts, John Hightower, Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert have been doing their own thing in Texas. They've been working out. When you hear these types of things, do you think that affects the game? Because everyone works out together in the off season when it comes to quarterback. The quarterback is all, it seems like almost, this is what it seemed like to me. This is what it seemed like to me. It seemed like there's a coach somewhere suggesting to the quarterback where to invite the guys, giving him a script, plays that he should work on, and it's almost kind of premeditated. And it's expected of the quarterback in order to show the organization, hey, yeah, we're working out hard. I personally don't think that it means a hill of beans to what happens in the season. But what do you think?
Yeah, I agree 100% on all that. I because there's no way he doesn't, like, what routes you working on. Like, we had a new offense, a new coach, new head coach, new system, all this,
new route tree,
new everything. So you got to be getting something from somewhere, right? So personally, I don't care, whatever. And I do like the fact that they're doing something and they're trying to work together. They're trying to get their timing right and all that stuff. But I agree, it doesn't mean a hill of beans. It don't mean nothing, because as we've always said on the show, once the bullets start flying, once you get into the real thick of things, all that matters is how you perform under pressure. All that matters if you win games. And so, it's good. It's good. It's fine right now. But we'll see. We'll see what happens when it's really time to get going. So,
you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the lockout.
Yes. Oh my God, that was.
You remember the lockout, and we didn't know that we were going to training camp to like the 21st, and we were supposed to report like the 27th. It may have been even closer than that. It may have been like the 23rd, and we had to report on the 27th. It was nice. Very quick, right? Where we didn't have much time. It was less than a week. I remember that. And during that off-season time, the only team that you saw in the media was like the Saints, Drew Brees, like champion. Yeah, we're working out. We're getting our time in. We're not going to let this, like, he's like the all-American guy that the owners are like showing through NFL Network and ESPN. Oh, you guys should be like Drew Brees. And I remember them playing Green Bay at Green Bay and getting whooped, right? And Aaron Rodgers was like, dude, we did all of that in 1 week. We didn't even need off-season training like the other team. And I remember him taking a shot at Drew Brees for being just ostentatious, just overly like, look at us. We're
doing it the right way.
Yeah, we're doing it the right way. And got smacked. I'm like, dude, you've been doing it the right way for a long time and got smoked on the first game.
For real. It don't matter what, like, I do agree. I agree to a certain point. Like, the offseason stuff does matter a little bit, but like, there's people and there's teams that when you get the training camp, it just locks in. Right? As long as you're doing enough to where you're taking care of your body well enough to, not get injured in training camp, you'll be fine. Most people will be fine.
Yeah, I read go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I'm good. Yeah.
I read an article that was I don't know how true it is, but it was an article that was suggesting that the NFL could try to not honor contracts if players are working out on their own. I don't know how true it is, but I don't want to talk about it. I just want to put that out there, because I want to validate if it's true or not at a later time. But I would think that would be crazy if it were to happen.
Yeah,
that would be bananas, because that would basically mean that guys couldn't get better at what they do without the team. Therefore, it would be weird. Maybe that's a way for the owners to control where the players are and make them want to come into the facility. I don't know what
that's 100%, but that's 100% what it is. And
yeah,
I know we don't want to get too deep into it. Without we're not lawyers, we're not NFLPA lawyers, we're not NFL lawyers, but there is language in the contracts that can void your contract if you get injured. But I think it's a very slippery slope when you get into that stuff, because you don't want your players going home and not doing nothing, right? You want them staying active. If I'm an owner, I want them staying active. Obviously, I don't want them doing stunts on motorcycles and crazy stuff like that, but you want them doing something and staying active. So it's a slippery slope, in my opinion, when you start to punish guys that are trying to stay in shape and make sure that they're ready for the season, no matter what happens on the outside of the world. So yeah, it's no, man.
We don't know.
I saw a report. Like, I saw a report about, I forget the guy's name, and I don't want to speculate on it, but I did see a report where there was a guy that was potentially injured, and there's some stuff that's going on there. But yeah, man, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Getting back to Jalen Hurts, so the offseason training that they are doing together, the young receivers and that, this is why I think that the positive from it, because I want to give the negative, the positive from it is that it builds camaraderie.
Yes.
Because those guys are around each other. And now you don't have to worry about, you begin to glean, okay, this guy is sensitive, or he has, an area of weakness here, or this guy is strong here. And you begin to like discern which ways you can motivate, from a quarterback's perspective, these different personality types. Because just as much as it is talent, from the quarterback, from the head coach, offense coordinator, whoever it may be, part of your job is managing personalities. You don't believe me? Ask Donovan McNabb about T.O. You don't believe me? Ask the thousands of relationships that are ruined in sports because of not being able to handle certain personality types and not going above and beyond with trying to positively influence and or motivate someone. It's a method to it. I know players that are most players from the inner city. It's very, very hard for you just to go and tell those players to do something if they don't feel that you care for them. They need to know that you're in the battle with them. Yep. So it's different from, Cowboy John from Wyoming. He's used to his dad yelling at him, John, get down there and do whatever. You know what I mean? And a coach can have that approach. I remember that was Chip Kelly's problem. Chip Kelly wanted to coach everyone like he would coach, Jason Kelce, but you can't coach Jason Kelce like you coach Deshaun Jackson. You just can't, right? That's suicide to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just can't do it. It sounds good in theory, but you just can't. And you have to learn how to deal with that. And the good ones do it. And I think the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, in this case, will benefit from being able to handle, understand, know what motivates, kick it, know that they're in the battle together, have conversation, have an open door, creating what he wants his team to be from the receiver, tight end, skill position group. Mm-hmm. That's the most important part of them working out, is not running an 18-yard pattern with nobody in front of you, because the timing will never be like that in the game. So you getting perfect timing just messes up your game timing. That's just my thought. And my thought has always been that I'm like, dude, why do we run so many routes on air without resistance? Because it messes up your game timing. Ladies and gentlemen, when you see a quarterback that throws the ball on time and the receiver is still jousting with somebody, everyone blames the receiver. Everyone does. The reason the quarterback did that is because every time in practice, the receiver had a free release and he was running full speed and he threw the ball and the guy was right there. And the quarterback, dumb self, don't realize that was just practice.
It was an offensive drill.
It was an offensive drill that Coach Reed was like, Q, stop interfering with the receivers. Right. And so the guy went in and he caught the ball with no resistance. And in the game, the quarterback is like, man, you ever know the quarterback gets real antsy in the game? Because in practice, he been getting the ball out in 1.7 seconds. In the game, he got the ball for 2.3 seconds because people are actually trying to guard you. Right. Yeah. So like that timing is it's for ego. It's for the appearance of perfection. Is for the appearance of I'm doing my job as an offensive coordinator. I'm doing my job as a quarterback coach, because the ball didn't hit the ground in practice today, because you dumbed it down so much that the guys on scout team couldn't touch anybody. That, they professionals, no resistance, they're going to catch the ball. Yeah. But why not have a practice where there's 50% incompletions, but the guys understand that you got to work for it in the game to get open. Therefore, they're used to that. I don't know why, but the other part of that is like, you're destroying their confidence. Are they pros? Like, we're not dealing with high school kids that are going up and like, are they pros or not?
Yeah.
I'm preaching to the choir.
For real. But as long as they're doing something, I guess.
As long as they're doing something, right? But
and hopefully they're not in Miami. Or Vegas, right? You said they're in Texas, right?
They're in Texas. Right. It all depends on what part of Texas you're at. Boy, if you want trouble, don't worry about it. You ain't got to find it. Trouble will be right at your back door. All you got to do is order a little bit.
You ain't lying, boy.
All right, we're going to wrap this show up. Q, there's a few other things that we want to talk about before we wrap this show up. Miles Sanders going into year 3. What do you think about Miles Sanders going into year 3?
So it's a make or break year for him, man.
Make or break?
Yeah, it's year 3. So, obviously you got the contract deal coming up. I don't, obviously the Eagles are cash strapped right now. He's one of my favorite players on the team, one of the best most dynamic players actually in the entire league. I'd like to see him continue to stay healthy. But he's an exciting player for me. And I'm pulling for him, man, because, this team can go places if he's on. He's a threat every time he touches the ball. So I'm hoping that he stays healthy, hoping he has a breakout year and he gets that big contract that he deserves.
Yeah, I'm hoping that too. That the injuries and, I thought Carson's inconsistent play kind of hurt him and lost his confidence last year when it came to catching. Yeah. I think Miles has natural hands. It doesn't look like that just because Carson was off target a bunch when it came to – it's hard to be off target throwing the running backs, ladies and gentlemen. It is, because throws not that far. But we couldn't hit the running back. We couldn't hit many people in general last year. But with that being said, Miles has to go to the next level. Yeah. We've seen glimpses of him. We've seen the talent, but I won't put him in the same categories that Brian Westbrook or Shady McCoy, where you knew that he was established by year 3. Yeah. Maybe this is the year. I remember us, having Shady and Westbrook for their first year. And then, Shady going into year 2. And I remember no, this kid is ready. Year 2. And boom, that's how it was. Yeah. Miles has been teetering. He's been flashing for 2 years. And it's been his job. It's been his job. It's not he's had to compete seriously with someone. Westbrook had Carell Buckhalter, he had Deuce, he had a bunch of people that he battled it out for. This has been his job. So I want him to transition to that elite running back in the NFL. And I know that he has the ability to do that. And I think Jalen is only going to help him. You should see their relationship. I love their relationship. I love Miles and Jalen's relationship. The young receivers respect Jalen Hurts so much. And it's evident. And it was so uncomfortable at times last year that coaching staff had to make the change to Jalen Hurts, because you begin to see the gravitational pull of Jalen Hurts and his leadership. Some guys have that, some guys do not. And it shouldn't be about the leadership as much as it is about the professional. But when there's rocky times and there's times where there's, conflict or stress or turmoil, whatever it may be, you kind of go to tribal mode, and you're going to go where the best leader is. And that was Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that's good, man. I'm pulling for him. I'm pulling for both those guys. It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be a wild ride. I think
it will be.
I think it's gonna be crazy, but just because just you see the reports, and again, they're all reports, but at first it was Jalen, then you hear that the Eagles tried to move up and get Zach Wilson, and so it's just come on, man, don't do this.
What are we gonna do?
Let's give them the opportunity, because you believed in them, we believe in them. Let's go. So
I reposted Zach Wilson, and when he was doing the draft commercial, and he was around all of these black dudes, and he looked so uncomfortable. He's looking around like weirded out. I was the BYU kids going to New York City, they got to drop him off in Harlem for a day or two so he could be able to get used to the NFL locker room.
Hey, for real.
Hey, that was just hilarious. It had nothing to do. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, for you guys, I'm not race baiting or anything like that. It was just funny. Some stuff is funny. Dave Chappelle's show back in the day was very racially charged. My God. But it was funny.
Funny show.
So in that clip of him being so uncomfortable, dude, can I go back to Kansas right now? Like it was like that. It was hilarious. Last thing, Goddard, Josh Sweat, Miles Sanders contract years. What do you think are going to happen with that? And also, we still got Zach Ertz on our roster. Are you surprised about that?
I'm very surprised by that. I don't know what's going on with that. The Ertz thing is really kind of perplexing, and hopefully it works itself out here pretty soon. Dallas Goedert, you would love to see him take that step forward. I think he's in the
like
same.
Miles.
He's the same boat. Yeah, as Miles. Yeah, agreed. 100%. We're on the same wavelength. Like, just the injuries. Like when they're available, which is a huge part of it, they're lights out. So just stay on the field, like stay healthy. And I don't know, like it's just so weird. It feels like for like ever since the Super Bowl year, and maybe I'm missing it, but ever since the Super Bowl year, it's been like we can't keep an entire team healthy to save our lives. And I don't get that part of it. I don't know what's going on, but I think if he can stay healthy and have a lights out year, he can earn a contract. And I think Sweat, another great player, he's more of a situational pass rusher for me. So for me, it's hard for me to say he's going to absolutely get a new contract or a big contract. But anything can happen. I like him as a player too. He's a great pass rusher.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
As much as like, this is that people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but Josh Sweat's the best pass rusher. Like,
I agree.
Like you go and ask offensive tackle or whoever else, they're going to say Josh Sweat's the hardest one to handle. I'm not saying that he's the most complete because BG's the most complete because BG going to get you tackles for loss. He going to get you some sacks. He going to make some plays. He going to do all of that. So I'm not saying that he's a better player, but just pure pass rusher, man, that dude can get off the football. Yeah. He's and he has bad knees, so it even so you don't recognize that he's moving. But we do this 5-yard, or the Eagles does this 5-yard get off drill, and we do it. It's positionless for special teams. The 5-yard get off drill.
Okay, yeah.
And guys just jump in it. Slayer jump in it. Yeah. Sweater jump in it. Whoever else. Sweat beats everybody every time.
Really?
Yeah, oh. at 6'5", 270, he's beating guys that run a 4.3. Yeah, he's probably not that big, but yeah, he's definitely 6'5". But he's beating people to the punch.
Wow.
And so I really like him. I don't necessarily know if he's worth a big time contract, but I think he's worth getting back because he only gets better. He's just getting healthy enough in order to play. He wasn't that healthy last year. Dallas Goedert, same position as Miles Sanders. When his growth has been stunted by Zach Ertz. That's true. You may be mad at me for saying it, but that's true. And I'll be glad that he gets an opportunity. Will he shine with it? We'll see. Jordan Mailata's contract is coming up. I definitely don't think you should pay him because I don't know if you have enough evidence to be able to support, unless he comes in and balls, which is good because you got Landon Dickerson, you got Brandon Brooks coming back, you got Jason Kelce. You got a potential to have a great offensive line this year.
Yeah,
and you got a great offensive line. You're gonna score points. I don't care what receivers you have.
And I agree with you. I think if he does show early, then they definitely need to lock him up. Get him before he hits his peak. I do have a question about Sweat though. So, do you see him as you think he's a 3-down end?
No, I didn't say that. I said I'm like you when it comes to situational. He's a lot stronger than what you think he is.
Okay.
I don't know if his body has ever been healthy enough to be able to handle 3 downs.
A lot of that going on, man.
So can he? He's strong, and his arms are super long, Q, like really long, and he extends and he can shed. He makes plays when he's in there. I just don't think that the coaching staff think that he can hold up. So we'll see if he comes in, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have the potential to, but at this stage in his career, he hasn't proved that he can be a 3-down player.
Okay, it's all right.
Yeah. And check, tell you the truth, Derek Barnett hadn't either. He hadn't proved that he can be a 3-down player. Derek Barnett last year showed up to camp about 215.
What?
As
Wow.
defensive end, he showed up to camp like at 215. And for
Wow.
defensive end, and so he has the ability to go up and down and weight. So he's not, you want your defensive end to be 260. You know what I mean? Somewhere in there, that's where probably Sweat is, somewhere in there, 255, 260, or a little bit more. But you want your defensive end, especially like you want those guys to be 260, you know what I mean? Somewhere in there, 250, something, 260.
Yeah.
And so to go 215 at times, it's very, very hard to generate a pass rush that light. It just is.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane, man.
He had some health issues, but it took him but it took him all season to get back close to his weight.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not good.
That's not
good.
Hopefully
he comes in. Hopefully he comes in ready to go, man. Because those three guys we mentioned, this is their year. Like, let's go. Come on, you got a new coaching staff. You're gonna probably get features. We're talking about this new offensive coordinator and offensive scheme where they're running the ball, throwing to the tight ends, and then pass rushing and Jordan, like those four guys. Jordan, I can't ever say his name.
Mailata, yeah.
Those four guys, man. Especially offensively, those three, they really got to step up. And I'm looking forward to it. I think they're ready. I think as long as they stay healthy, I think they're gonna have a breakout year. I'm hoping.
Yeah. We're looking forward to it. Q, we're gonna end this show, man. We're gonna end this show. Sure. I always want to get 45 minutes, man, but it never happens like that. We had too much fun talking, and then we can go on about so many different things, but it's always fun. To the fans, we want to say thank you again for making our show a success on Inside the Birds platform on YouTube. Make sure that you are sending questions in. Make sure that you're sending questions in. Make sure, we may need to edit this and put this toward the front. Make sure that you're putting questions in. At Inside the Birds at gmail.com, also Inside the Birds platform on YouTube. Message us in the comments, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, message somebody so we can have questions to talk about right from you. And we'll go right down the row and say, hey, John from Pennsylvania, from Wilkes-Barre, whatever it may be, right? Levittown, South Jersey, whatever it may be. And we'll state your question, answer it, and make sure that we're having fun doing it. So just make sure that you're giving us the questions so we can answer it for the Q&A show. I'm signing out. Again, our show drops Wednesday morning at 6 a.m., all Inside the Birds platform. For yours truly's dropping out. Q, you want to say something to the fans?
No, you said it all, man. Like, just having fun as well.
We have fun. Let's Q, go. Great to see you. See you next week. And go Birds.
Go Birds. All right.